Welcome back to the final episode of Season 1, Echoes of the Past, Visions of Tomorrow. I'm Lourdes, and today marks a special moment. Have you ever felt confused by your emotions and wonder why you react the way you do? This episode, Embracing the Past, Shaping the Future, wraps up the journey we've shared this season. We've explored stories that show how our past shapes who we are today and guides our future. By understanding and accepting our past, we can learn from it to build a better future. Before we get started, I want to take a moment to appreciate you, our wonderful listeners. Your stories, courage, and growth have made this journey special. Thank you for being a part of it. Let me share why I started this podcast and what it means to me. About 6 or 7 years ago, I was often angry and frustrated without understanding why. This led me to seek answers from motivational speakers. That's when I discovered Marisa Peer and her rapid transformational therapy, or RTT. Alongside Marisa's teachings, I also found Kwik, who taught me about improving memory, positive thinking, and how self-talk affects our brain. Combining what I learned from Marisa Peer and Kwik was a huge step in understanding myself. After learning about RTT and its benefits, I decided to find a therapist. I found Elizabeth Valdez, an RTT therapist in Whittier, California. I also read books like The 4 Agreements, It Didn't Start With You, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, and Revolution from Within. But I still carried a lot of pain. Therapy with Elizabeth Valdez helped me see that many of my struggles came from my past and long-held beliefs. This journey of self-discovery wasn't easy, but it helped me make peace with my past and become who I am today. In episode 2, I mentioned the 4-7-8 breathing technique that helped me when I felt stress. But it was not just the breathing, but also the reading and using what I learned from speakers that helped me. Sometimes thinking about my past made me feel bad, but now I had the tools to handle it. It was like having armor to protect myself. Choosing to understand myself better was the foundation for everything that followed. In this podcast, I will give you some tools, suggestions, and ideas to help you find your way. I have learned that there will be days when I feel down, grumpy, or sad. But now I know these feelings will pass and I will learn from them. I have learned to trust myself to get through tough times, and this has made me stronger. Looking back at my past used to make me relive those experiences. They felt very real, almost like they were happening again. But now I see my past differently. It is a part of who I am, but does not control me. Making peace with my past and learning from it wasn't easy, but it was worth it. Without my experiences, I would not be who I am today. Feeling more at peace and better understanding myself, I wanted to help others, especially older adults who might be going through similar struggles. That is when I decided to start this podcast. I wanted a place to share our stories, learn from each other, and grow together. Each episode of Season 1 has touched on fears of change and vulnerability. These are common fears, and I wanted to talk about them openly. Throughout this season, we have heard from many of you. Your stories of facing fears, embracing change, and finding strength in being open have been inspiring. Here are some key lessons from these stories. Facing our fears can help us grow and become stronger. Being open can create stronger connections and support. Even when it's hard, accepting change is important for growing and adapting. These stories remind us that we are not alone. Sharing our experiences brings us closer and makes our community stronger. As we wrap up this season, I am excited to announce that Season 2 will start on the 4th of July. It is called Silent Struggles, Finding Strength in Our Fears. We will talk more about the fears that hold us back, how we can face them and keep moving forward. We will cover the fear of aging, how it affects how we see ourselves and our relationships. We will discuss ways to accept aging and find joy and strength in this stage of life. Since I work alone, new episodes will be released every 2 weeks for the first few months. Each episode will be worth the wait and filled with valuable tips and resources you can download and use. I will let you know when I return to a weekly schedule. I would love to hear from you as we prepare for the next season. What fears have you faced and how did you deal with them? Do you have any advice for those finding it hard getting older? Sharing your story might help someone going through a tough time. Before we close, I want to reflect on what we have done together this season. We have explored our past, faced our fears, and thought about the future. We have built a community of listeners who support and inspire each other. I am very grateful for that. Starting this podcast has changed me. It has been a way to heal, connect, and grow. I hope it has been as meaningful for you as it has been for me. As we move into Season 2, I invite you to think about your journeys. Share your thoughts, questions, and stories with me. My contact information is listed on the show notes. Before I finish, please subscribe to your favorite podcast platform. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with someone you think may enjoy it too. Your support helps our community grow. For more information and resources, check out the show notes. I will add the links to Marisa Peer and Jim Kwik, including the books and therapist I mentioned. As we end, I want to leave you with a thought from Thich Nhat Hanh. People find it difficult to let go of their pain. They prefer familiar suffering because they fear the unknown. This quote fits perfectly with our discussion today and throughout this season. We have explored how our past experiences shape us and how confronting our fears can be challenging. Often, it is easier to stay in a place of familiar pain rather than face the uncertainty of change. But, as we have learned, acknowledging and understanding our past can help us move forward, even if it's just one small step at a time. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you for listening. You will hear from me again on July 4th for our new season. Let's grow older and wiser together.